you take a farmer, and that farmer is a farmer and they're producing a crop. They don't come out to their crop and say, you know what, it sure would be nice to have some corn to produce over here. You know, it sure would be nice if we had some tomatoes that produced over here. You see where I'm going? They don't say it sure would be nice. They do something about planting something in the ground so it produces what it's supposed to produce, right? If we saw a farmer saying that, we would think they were foolish. But a lot of people move in their lives the same way.
Let's go. Let's grow.
What's going
Let's
on,
get
people?
it.
I'm Carlos V. Spencer here, back with another video of the week. Here to make you better. You're going to keep hearing me say that. We want you to be getting better. We want you to keep leveling up. We want you to keep changing the levels of your life. If you're not doing good, we want you to get to a space where you are doing good, right? If you are doing good, we want you to get to a space of greatness. If you are in the space of greatness, we want you to push that even higher. So no matter what level you're on, there's always room to become better. I'm a firm believer in the way that you become better is by making yourself better. Therefore, whatever you put your hands to, that thing automatically becomes better. So this week we're going to deal with what's being planted, right? What's being planted will be produced. What you put in is actually going to come out, right? Your heart is a producer. There's this passage that says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. Again, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. Your heart is a producer. So whatever you put into your heart, that's what's going to come out of your heart. Things that you put into your life, that's what's going to come out of your life, and they're going to produce. Your heart, besides being a producer, your heart is very similar to the ground. I had a garden before. So when I had this garden, I planted tomatoes, I planted corn, I planted greens, planted a bunch of different things, right? Those things produce. So I was used to say this a lot, especially when speaking in front of a different audience or a group. If you take a farmer, and that farmer is a farmer and they're producing a crop, they don't come out to their crop and say, you know what, it sure would be nice to have some corn to produce over here. You know, it sure would be nice if we had some tomatoes that produced over here. You see where I'm going? They don't say it sure would be nice. They do something about planting something in the ground so it produces what it's supposed to produce, right? If we saw a farmer saying that, we would think they were foolish. But a lot of people move in their lives the same way. What do I mean? We move in ways and saying, it sure would be nice to have this. It sure would be nice to have more of this. It sure would be nice to see this in my life. It sure would be nice if I was on this level in my life. And if we saw a farmer doing that, we would think they were foolish. So what about ourselves? We need to actually plant something in. So again, I had a garden before. And in this garden, I planted certain things. And so I didn't guess or hope or wish. Watch this. This may rub you the wrong way. I didn't even have to pray, per se, for something to show up in my garden, because I knew what was going to show up and what was going to produce because of what I planted inside of it. So the heart is a producer. The earth is a producer. So what I mean by the earth is the ground, the terra firma, right? The actual ground that you could take a shovel and put it into the earth and dig it up. When you look at the earth, it produces what you put inside of it. Now, here's one thing that the earth does not do. The earth does not say, well, if you plant corn in me, right, I'm going to produce a bunch of corn, right? I'm going to produce way more than you planted into the ground, right? I'm going to produce just if you put one seed, I'm going to produce thousands and thousands of corn, because corn may be able to help some people who may be starving. The earth doesn't do that, right? Now, the earth does produce more than just the one seed, which is a whole another lesson I can't chase. When you plant one seed, I've heard it said that you can count, a fool can count the seeds in the apple, but only God can count the apples in the seed. So when you plant a seed, yeah, it's going to produce way more. But the earth doesn't say, well, if you plant this in me, I'm going to produce, just keep producing continuously off this seed because people are starving and people are hungry. The earth doesn't do that. The earth also doesn't do this. If you plant tobacco into the earth does not say, The earth, cancer may be caused. If we produce this tobacco, it could be used for cigarettes. It could be used for some other things, and it may cause cancer. So you know what? I'm not going to produce this seed. The earth doesn't do that either. The earth produces whatever you put into it. Your heart is a producer. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. Your heart will produce, listen to me, the things that you put into it, it will produce out of it. Your heart is not going to say things like, well, let me produce way more of this, even though it's not a lot going in. Or let me not produce this because this may be detrimental to the person that's putting this into their heart. Be mindful of what you're placing into your heart. Be mindful of the things that you're placing into your life, because the things that you place into your life are actually going to produce out of your life. Here's another good thing. When you're placing things into your life, or when you're doing something with your life, trying to do something new, trying to do something different, you have to stick with it to be able to see that thing produce. Just because you plant it today doesn't mean that it's going to produce tomorrow. There's this book called The Slight Edge. And I like this book. I believe it's by Jeff Olson. The Slight Edge, because the Slight Edge states that if you do something and you just start doing that something, you may not see the results from that something quickly, but eventually you will see the results. So if you take two people, they're twins, say they're identical twins, and you take one who's eating a salad a day and the other one who's eating a cheeseburger a day, right? I heard somebody say that if somebody ate a cheeseburger today and had a heart attack today, people will stop eating cheeseburgers. Now, you can do what you want, eat what you want. But what I'm simply saying is it can catch up to you in the long run, but people don't understand that it's going to catch up to you in the long run, but the long run is a lot of short runs. That means if you keep taking small increments, sooner or later it's going to end up in the big space. But a lot of people don't see the big space because they don't see it in small spaces. Oh, they don't see it adding up incrementally because it's only small at the beginning and you can't see it at the beginning. So when we're doing something good or something good for ourselves, many times we stop before it starts to produce because we don't see the evidence yet. Or we don't do something, or something that's going to do us wrong, right? Something that's going to hurt us or harm us in the long run. We won't stop doing that in the small increments because we can't see it hurting us in the small increments. A slight edge, you take two people, say they're twins, identical twins. One's eating a salad a day, one's eating a cheeseburger a day. And by day 2 or day 3, you take both people and you can't see much of a difference. Say 2 weeks later, one's eating a salad a day, one's eating a cheeseburger a day. Not going to see much difference. Say a month, and every day, one's eating a salad every day, one's eating a cheeseburger every day. You'll start to see some difference show up in them. You take that to 2 months, to 3 months. You'll see a difference in the way they look. You start to take that to 4 or 5 months. You'll see a difference in the way that they look. You'll see a difference in the way that they feel. The slight edge says you can't see it at the beginning. Whether you're doing something good, this is really good. Whether you're doing something good for yourself or something bad for yourself, something beneficial or something detrimental, something that's going to help you, something that's going to harm you. If you're doing something good, stick with it because eventually you're going to see it. If you're doing something that's not hurting you but you can't see it, you need to cut that off because eventually you're going to see it. You take these same two people. At the beginning of what they're doing, you don't see the difference, but at the end of what they're doing, the difference adds up. You're going to produce what you're putting inside of yourself. I promise you, if you stick with what you're doing, you're going to see the difference eventually. You just might not see it right now, but you're going to see it. If you quit, you'll never see it. I can promise you that. But if you stick with it, you will see it if you stick with it eventually. If you're doing something that may be hurting you or harming you and you don't see it now, but you know you shouldn't be doing this thing, I'm telling you, you need to cut that thing off because the slight edge states that if you continue to do this thing, it's going to show up eventually. Like I said earlier, you may not see it in the long run, right? Because you don't see it in the short run, or scratch that. You're going to see it in the long run. but you may not see it in the short runs. You may not see it in the day-to-day, but the day-to-day ends up adding to things at the end of your life and at the end of your spectrum. My name is Carlos B. Spencer. We want you to become better. Apply these things. Use these things. Stick with these things. And you will start to see a difference in your own life. You may not see it now. You will see it eventually. Whatever bad habits you might have, you may have had those bad habits for a long time. And you ain't see a change in the new habit because you've been doing the other thing for 10, 15 years and you've been doing this new thing for 10 or 15 months. Now, I'm not saying that's not older congratulations. What I'm saying is give yourself time, give yourself grace, but stick with it. And I promise you, you will see the difference. And other people, they're going to see the difference too. Let's go. Let's grow.
Let's grow. Let's grow. Let's grow. Let's